A masterfully made thin cymbal is going to give you just enough meat and clarity to the stick definition, and then beyond that it can be kind of wild, and so you as the player have to approach it with a certain sensibility. This was made by the amazing Roberto Spizzichino, and this is the next recreation project. I've been doing recreation projects dealing with cymbals that are heavier. We started out with the Peisty Dark Ride, which is, a very, very heavy cymbal. Then we went on to the Steve Gadd hi-hat sound, which is a little bit more of a medium thin weight hi-hat. I love thin cymbals. I've been kind of away from thin cymbals for a while, and now I'm coming back. We're coming back home with this Roberto Spizzichino recreation project. Now I have a great customer who owns a bunch of Spizzichino cymbals, and he has sent these cymbals in for me to analyze and for me to make my own versions of them and really just take inspiration from them. And he's got a bunch more. He wants to send me more of them. And this is the one he sent next. This is one where he thought it was cracked, which is going to be important to talk about later. So he sent it in. It is a 22. It is 2,121 grams, and it was made in 2011, or at least it was picked up in 2011. So I'd imagine it was made within a couple of years of when the customer picked it up. He was in Italy, and he picked this up straight from Roberto's shop. And as some of us know, Roberto passed in 2011. So this is one of his last cymbals that came out of his shop. It is a masterclass in how to make a thin cymbal sound great. It's got a fairly tall shape. It's not super umbrellaed, but it is medium tall. It's got a low, wide bell. It's got a very loose tension, as you'll see in a minute. It flops and wobbles all over the place, but it's got this beautiful, smoky, dry stick definition, and it has what I like to call the rivet effect. So some cymbals will sound like they have rivets in them without being cracked, and obviously without having rivets installed. This cymbal has a little bit of that rivet effect. So it's this very high pitch, sparkly kind of thing in the top end. It's like a sheen on top that really kind of tricks your ear. And it's actually why the customer thought that it was cracked. He sent it in saying, yeah, it's got a crack. I think it's here. And when I, took a really close look at the area, I was just looking at a deep lathe groove that had some, there's like a shredding thing that can happen if you're looking super close into some pin lathe passes. It has a little bit of that, and so that can be mistaken as a crack, and it's not a crack in this one. This cymbal really has it all when it comes to a thin cymbal. It's obviously not for every genre because it washes out pretty fast and it opens up extremely quick. So let's take a listen to the 22 Roberto Spizzichino. Now what I love about playing this cymbal is it invites me to relax behind it. If I kind of come at it with force, or if I'm tensing up, or if I'm really trying to drive the music, drive that statement home, and I tense up, it just is way too wild. It kind of opens up and just runs away from me. So it invites me to sort of relax and have a loose grip and kind of drop my shoulders a little bit, don't hold so much tension up in my neck. And it invites a different way of playing. Cymbals like this can be amazing if you have the right technique, if you put them in a really low volume situation. Because if you can control it in a low volume situation, you're gonna get this very, very pleasing cymbal tone that is not gonna be overly loud. It's not gonna hurt your ears or the other band members around you. And it's gonna be a very inspiring instrument to play. So now comes to the fun part. I've taken this cymbal and I've made some versions that I like to call reduxes. This guy right here, it's right on 22. It's got that taller bell there, and it weighs 2,116 grams. I also, on this one with the bell, just because I was trying to get a little bit more of a mellow sound out of the bell, I went deeper with a pin lathe pass on the bell, and the rest of the cymbal is meant to be very, very similar to the original. The shape, medium tall, bordering on tall, and I love how this one turned out. I was able to get a drier tone than you can typically get because I layered the heck out of it. I hammered it, lathed it, hammered it, lathed it, hammered it, lathed it, and then when it was very close to the weight, the target weight, I hammered it again, and I was really just trying to get as much compression on the outer portion of the bronze as possible, because it being as thin as it is, it needs control, and I was able to draw that out by doing that process. Next up, we have a little bit more of a deviation. This one also has a taller bell, but I didn't widen it out. I kind of kept it in the same shape and hammered the top of the bell. And this one is actually 21.5 and weighs 2,090 grams. This one was also layered within an inch of its life. Now, the point of doing this for me is to approximate the sound of a fully aged cymbal. Aged bronze hardens. So older cymbals have this icy, brittle kind of sound and feel. And the only way I've found to get sort of close to that is to make sure that there's hammering very near the end of the process, so that the outer portions of the bronze are harder than they would be. You know, you hammer and you're compressing that metal, and then when you lathe it, you kind of shave away that hardened portion. So doing it in this way kind of helps there be a harder crust on the outside, which is going to help with that brittle, sticky kind of sound. All right, so let's listen to these two cymbals next to the original and see what we think. So this is part one of this next Redux recreation project. This is a love letter to thin cymbals. I've talked a lot in the last 6 months about how my ears are changing and I'm really leaning towards the heavier sound, and that's still true. But thin cymbals have such a special place in my heart. They're extremely functional and usable in a lot of different musical situations. So don't sleep on thin cymbals. Yes, I do agree that as drummers, we need to kind of get hip to what a heavier cymbal can do for our playing and how versatile they can be. But having a cymbal that's uber thin can be wonderful, and it can be the exact right color you need for certain musical situations. Keep an eye out for the next project where I will be presenting the batch of recreation Redux models based off of this 22-inch Spizzichino. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and share the video, subscribe and hit the bell if you want notifications. Keep an eye out for the next video. I'm Timothy Roberts. Thank you for watching.